Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Mellow with the Green and Yellow. A name proposed by Cody Hagan, which, by the way, you won. Expect me to slide into your DMs later. I'm your host, Tom Grossi, of course, joined by the legendary Ryan Grant.
Cody, you won because the sentiment for this week is a mellow one. And I think it fit perfectly towards how all of us in the Pack family feel based upon that outcome and performance on Sunday. So congratulations, bittersweet Cody.
I just want to let you know, Cody, that there will be fresh tears that will be also on that ball with
that ball. Exactly. If I apologize, Cody, if the signature is smudged.
A little smudged. A little bit. It's tears. And they're not joyful tears. Ryan, I mean, I think, well, obviously it's devastating for the Green Bay Packers to lose their first game this season. I think the more devastating news that really I haven't seen it in the media.
I know.
That our streak is gone. That our streak of keeping the Packers perfect is gone.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm surprised that wasn't picked up. I thought at least NBC, would give it a little blurb, but
I was wondering if we might have had to dress up as somebody else today.
Honestly, it's disappointing, but that's fine, because we're gonna give you the truth here.
We're also in a performance-based business as well. And so I was a little concerned with that because we didn't get it done. They might say our some things need to be rearranged this week. But you know what? They trust the process.
That's it.
Like my big man Aaron said, an anomaly.
Yeah. That's we got to pray it is. That's just it's a one-off, and now it's time to go on a tear.
Use it as a tool, as a lesson, as a resource to be even better. And we will as well. We'll be better as well.
I mean, we got to be, Ryan. We got to be. I mean, listen, Ryan, I want to say that this loss is on me. This loss, I'm going to put this one on me, bud. I talked a whole lot of crap last week about Golden Tate. I did. You know what? I talked a whole lot of smack. I was getting full of myself. I was feeling a little cocky, a little too confident, a little overzealous, a little over braggadocious. And
braggadocious.
I think it just came back and bit me in the ass. So you know what, guys? I'm gonna take this one. This is my bad. This is on me. And to Golden, I apologize.
Whoa!
For my comments.
Mega.
I
Do we have that? Are we gonna have that? That's gonna be. We want to use that as that clip. We want to use that clip and that soundbite. Golden brother, you got it. Golden's like, who knows what? Yes, but just know that you're
the guy I wish happy birthday to because someone paid me $250.
You're getting the apologies that you're due, Golden. Whether you need them or not, you're due them.
No, that was more for me. I still mean a lot of what I said, but not all of it. So I apologize for a good amount of it.
It was to you, Golden, but it was for Tom.
It was. It's true. Process.
And then you need to apologize to yourself, Tom, because you have an opportunity to be a better man these next coming weeks. And these weeks coming, moving forward, step it up, all right?
Oh, so it's not apologize to myself to forgive myself. It's just like, Tom, you suck. Be better.
No, forgive yourself so that you can be better.
Okay, I got it. Okay. All right, Ryan, you're an angel. You did everything correctly. Nothing you did was wrong. So you were great. Actually,
correct.
You know what?
Correct.
You know what? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about last week again. And remember how you strolled on in here with a Cheesehead TV shirt? You know what, Ryan? Maybe that was the problem. Ryan.
And you know what? I didn't hear Aaron didn't thank me for wearing. No one actually thanked me this week for wearing the Cheesehead. Huh. Maybe that might be it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Aaron Nagler and Corey Benke, they didn't thank you for representing their show.
You know what?
On
I'm
our
not.
show? Oh.
I'm not taking responsibility for the loss, but yeah.
Okay.
Won't do that again, though. Won't do that again.
No, we're not gonna do that again.
Won't do that again.
And listen, you know what? Here's the thing. I won't bash Golden Tate anymore on this show. And
I don't
Ryan,
want to cheese that TV cheeser.
That's it. And you know what? I still have to send you stuff. So I
would like that, Grossi policy. I would like that.
Right. All right. We got this. Okay. So Ryan, let's talk about Sunday's massacre. We were talking briefly before the show and talking about, again, like sometimes you just need to get that ass kicked, right?
Yeah.
I've been saying that it's better to happen now than later in the season, when things are a little bit more, meaningful. I'll say, even though every game is meaningful, you know what I mean? And I think that, when it comes down to it, what's going to matter is not what happened on Sunday. What's going to matter is how we respond to it. And if the team's able to respond and they're able to get back on the horse like they did for the first few weeks, then I think we're going to be okay and no one's going to be talking about this game ever again.
Of course. Listen, it already happened. So at the end of the day, there's not much they can, like you said, how they respond to it. You address it. There were clearly some issues that occurred. And I love the fact that Aaron said it was an anomaly. Because it was so glaring in the opposite direction of what we've seen product wise on all fronts that it does very much seem like an anomaly. But I like I said before the show, that it's not something where you can say, well, we saw it coming. Yeah. Each week it's been built. No, that's not the case by any means. Sometimes you just get whooped, and sometimes you get outplayed, outcoached. I think it's a really good bring you back down home, bring you back down to earth to let you know and re-emphasize and reiterate that this is pro. This is the NFL. Sure. And each team is very much a pro. Each team is scouting and doing their work, and they get paid on the other side of that ball as well. So you got to come with it. Any given Sunday is very real. And I love that. It's like you got to come with your A game. I don't care who you are. You've got to come with your A game. And the fact that you see teams that might on paper be better than other teams and consistently win, they still have to go out and put the product out every week. So that's what's impressive. And I am. I'm actually, as disappointing, quote unquote, as the loss was for everybody, I'm more excited about what they're going to do with this loss and how they're going to change it. And see how they respond to it, because that's what, like I said, that's the test of like true champions and how you respond. And this is great. They've had their first quote unquote test of not just a loss, not just a tough loss. It was like, no, they got ass whooped. Yeah. Went down there and got beat up on all fronts. They got outcoached. They got outplayed. Glaring. And they didn't play well. It wasn't like, they just like were in a tough one. And like, I played in games where it was a tough loss, but we fought. And it was like, damn, we got our ass beat. But it was like, no, we were fighting. Like, nah, they got whooped. And nobody even played well. So I know there's a lot of actually positives in that, because nobody feels like they actually played well. So it's not even like they got a chance to put out their better effort and say like, oh, no, they just beat us as a team. No, that's not the case. So, I'm excited about how they'll respond.
Yeah, it's not even like, we left it all out there. You're like, nope.
Yeah,
nope.
No. We didn't even put it out there.
First quarter, we like dipped our toe into the water, like too cold. And then we walked away from the pool.
I believe Aaron said something around like from the jump street from the first quarter, like we didn't come out the huddle. And, and that's one of those things. It's interesting. You see, and I wonder does anybody know how many fans they had down there?
I want to say it was like 16,000. Don't quote me
on that. I
wonder
if, and like I said, it's very, like whatever, minuscule, but at this point, I wonder if that played a part of it. I don't know, like it just in general, is different.
So it's funny you say that.
If the ship. The pirate ship.
Yeah, I mean, it might be. The cannons might have scared them, and they're like, "Whoa, what's going on with that?" I mean, in Green Bay, I don't know how many pirate ships there are. Probably not many, I would imagine. Any of the Great Lakes, but it's
ghost pirate ship. I don't know how they would get up there. How would it get there?
That's true. It's funny. Matt LaFleur was asked that exact question in his press conference. I was watching it right after the game, and that question was asked like, "Did the crowd impact it?" And LaFleur literally just like, without even missing a beat, was like, "No effect whatsoever." So like,
matter of factly, yeah. Okay, good. But
So
there you go.
I have two questions following up, this game. Obviously, one is hopefully David Bakhtiari is okay, because that offensive line was getting beat up. And if we lose, our premier left tackle, that's going to be problematic. But I'm curious, as someone obviously, is following the team, watched them last year, what have you. A lot of the sentiments that I saw during the game from fans and after the game was comparing this to the 49ers game from last year, not the NFC Championship game, the first time that we played them, where we got whooped then too.
Yeah.
Right. So do you think that there's a difference between those games? And what I mean by that is, did you watch that game and go, okay, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are just like leagues ahead of the Green Bay Packers right now? Or are you looking at, like you were saying before, in which is just like, listen, they didn't even like put out their best effort. This was just like not their day. And if you think if they met them again, like they did the 49ers, the outcome would either be closer and or different.
Yeah, no, I emphatically think it's a very different situation than the 49ers. I watched the 49ers game last year, the first time, and thought, the first game was,
oh,
okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. And then someone, I remember going into the NFC Championship saying, well, how do you think? And I said, any given Sunday. And that's a really good answer for someone who you think that, the Packers are going to be in for a fight and they have an opportunity, but they're going to have to play almost a perfect game. You know what I mean? Like, I think, and watching and how what occurred in the NFC Championship was like, okay. Packers are a very good team, but the fact of the matter is San Francisco is just better. They're just a better team. I do think that they play 10 games. San Francisco wins 8 out of those 10 games. Yeah. And that's the sign of a dominant, just better team, flat out. No, I don't think that's the case. They played better. Tampa Bay absolutely played better.
Definitely.
And, just like on all fronts, they played better. They had more energy. Across the board, you could, from Jump Street, things didn't look in sync with what we're used to. And I don't think maybe Aaron wanted to get Devontae, it seemed like there was a little bit trying to get Devontae involved. Sure. Understandably, you want to get your best guy involved when he's been out. It's hard for me to, as a former player and knowing what it looks like and being in there and used to being in the huddle and seeing different things, how things manifest. It's hard for me to say that quarterbacks and certain guys, sometimes quarterbacks do try to force the issue in certain things, but I don't know if that's the case. It's just, it didn't work. You know what I mean? Just certain things didn't work. And you could see that like it was off. There wasn't a sync. To me, in some regard, it didn't seem like there was a sync in play calling. It doesn't seem like there was a sync in execution, but it didn't seem like, oh man, no matter what the Packers do, the Tampa Buccaneers are just like, in fact, just better. It's not like, it didn't seem like, they just have an answer for, no, it just seemed like, oh, wow, they're not doing things very well, the Packers. So no, I don't see it as that as well at all. I just see that like, they didn't play well at all. And you said, when you know that on the other side of the ball, guys are good. Nobody went into this and said, you know what? No, they're like, this is not a good team. Like, no, Tampa's solid. Yes. And I think what happens, and this is what happens, I think that when people see the way that they lost that Bears game. To
the Bears, yep.
It's immediately they start to drop down the team. Yep. It's like, no, honestly, and they probably should have won that game. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. But many different things say that they should have won that game. So, and we know that's how the game goes in with situations that happen, especially awareness wise. But I didn't look at that and be like, oh, not Tampa Bay's. No, if anything, what did I say last week? I said Tom's going to come out. He's going to have those guys ready to go. Oh, yeah. They're going to be fired up because no way they want to have anything remotely related to what happened the week before. And it's unfortunate that our team had to experience, them being fired up. Yeah, exactly. Them being fired up and performing at a high level. So, hats off to them, of course. And then in the same breath, the Packers need to look at what they didn't get done.
Yeah, and you look at, you mentioned the play calling, and I think that there was just problems for us on both sides of the ball. I mean, you see so many runs to the outside where they have ridiculously fast linebackers. They're constantly
Yeah.
meeting on the outside. Vita Vea is out for them. We talked about it on the show. The couple runs they did inside, they
Inside,
found
they worked. Yeah, they worked.
like Jamal Williams was able to scamper, almost got a TD if he was able to get away from that last tackler. There was opportunities there. And I gotta say, like, I gotta be completely honest, I'm not worried about this offense. I'm really, really not.
Yeah, I hope no one is.
No.
Yeah, I don't think that's. Yeah, I don't. I hope nobody is.
Here's the thing, like it is a week to week league, like game by game, what have you. Like you're saying, any given Sunday, and I think like because of the beatdown that they got, everyone is now looking at the first 4 weeks and going like, oh, what can we find in here of like why that didn't matter? You and I talked about this, right? About them basically looking at like, well, the Saints aren't that good, the Vikings aren't that good. Like they start going through the roster and like, being like, okay, like.
And honestly, if they would have won the game convincingly, it would have said the same thing.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, what they can look at, what's really what the actual Pack squad and what the team can look at is the Packers can look at the fact that they've put together a solid body of work the first 4 weeks of the season. Really a solid on all fronts.
Yep.
And they didn't in week 6.
Yeah.
They did. This last game, they did not put together a body. So they have to say, you know what? Let's get back to our basics of what we know we do well. Come on now. Let's get back to what we do, get back to our fundamentals. And now we have a chance to start over and get in that groove again. So and you want that. You want to keep building on successes, but it's not like they throw out all the successes that they had and say, you know what, those were none of those counted, and we weren't. No, get out of here. You use all that. You build on all that, and then you look at you address what you didn't do well. You assess it, you address it, and then you know what I mean. You move forward.
Because LaFleur even came out again in that press conference. He said like you have a bad week of practice, you put something bad on the field. So obviously the practice wasn't there. Obviously the practice wasn't there.
Exactly. So they can recognize that, and this is sometimes the thing, coming back from a bye week. How to get guys, it's the tricky stuff on how to get guys motivated, like how to get guys back in the same groove. Do you stay on the same schedule? Do you get an extra day in? How you do all that. So, absolutely. If LaFleur said that, I missed that. But if he did say that, then that lets you know that the standard might not have been up to par on what they believe.
One of the big concerns that I have, if it's coming from any side of the field, is the defense. Ronald Jones was able to rush for over 100 yards on us. The run defense has been a bit of an issue. And this was back with when we had Kenny Clark, because Kenny Clark returned. We were missing Kevin King, which definitely hurt the team. It definitely made it had a negative.
What's going on with Kevin?
I forget what his exact injury was. I think he was really close to actually playing, though. So I imagine, he should be. Of course, I'm not in the locker room, but I'm assuming within the next week or so, he should be ready to go if it's not lingering. Gotcha. But I am concerned about the defense. There's a lot going around about, for Tom Brady, I think we pressured him twice the entire game. And that's a QB that you have to pressure, because it's not like he's going to run away on you. So I think the lack of pressures, they point at guys like Preston Smith and that they've been struggling to get pressure. We were sending only 3-man rushes, which made absolutely no sense. I think, that is the bigger concern. And this was talked about last year, especially after the NFC Championship game, about Mike Pettin and talking about, is he potentially on the hot seat? And I came into this season and looked at it and said, if the defense doesn't improve, I wouldn't be terribly surprised. He's not LaFleur's guy. He was already there. He was inherited from McCarthy. I wouldn't be surprised. But I think one of the things the Packers most definitely have to improve on, if they're not, doing anything with the offense, is they got to get to the damn quarterback, because that makes their secondary play better. It makes them look better. And I think, that's going to be a problem when you start playing against good offenses. If you just let them sit back in the pocket, they're going to tear you up.
You're absolutely right. In today's day and age, if you can't get to the quarterback, you're not going to win. Plain and simple. It doesn't matter. I don't even follow statistics, but I can guarantee you that in the league, if you look at the overall, the teams that don't win are teams that are not getting to the quarterback. Plain and simple. These quarterbacks are just too good. Wide receivers are too good. The offenses are too good across the ball when it comes to the passing games. If you can't get to the quarterback and disrupt some of that timing wise and all that, you're going to just get eaten alive. And Brady's one of those guys. Tom's arguably the best. So what are you going to do? You know where his limitations are. So if you can't get to him, it is interesting. Yeah, running 3-man rushes. I don't know. I don't know. And I like Patine. I'm not mad at him. Yeah, I did read something from LaFleur, and he talked about that. They're going to have to evaluate a bunch of stuff.
Good hard look.
Yeah. But listen, what's funny? Before we talk about next week, it will be interesting because now in next week you have the total opposite type of quarterback.
Yes.
Literally the antithesis of what Tom Brady was in style. And it's like, you bring too much at this guy. So I don't know. You know what I mean? We'll see. I'm not going to be the guy to make judgments on, as I said, I'm definitely not a defensive guy. I'm not going to be the one to make judgment calls on what needs to be done. But whatever was done last week didn't get it done. It wasn't enough. Yeah, it didn't work.
I always get nervous when we play mobile quarterbacks just because of our history with mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah. Is
usually not so great, and if you turn that into, a run defense, which is struggling, and now you could get a runner from, Deshaun Watson, that gets a little concerning, but we'll talk about that in a hot second. I want to ask you one other question. So the Packers obviously having their first loss, and it felt like, and maybe you didn't get this sense, it felt like the media, obviously, Twitter's Twitter, whatever, like social media is social media, but I'm saying like beat writers for the Packers were coming out and saying like, this is why we drafted Jordan Love. Stupid ass article.
I saw that. What?
Insanity. And I feel like it, and maybe this is just me with my blinders on because I'm a Packers fan. I feel like it's always worse when the reaction to it. When the Chiefs lose to the Raiders, they're like, it happens. It is what it is. No one's saying like, they don't have it anymore. Like, what a terrible start, whatever. But I feel like with the Packers, it's almost always different. And I feel like there's that, I don't know if it's because it's Rodgers and people are just like looking for an opportunity to jump on the hate train.
It is.
Like, how do you view it?
I view it as familiarity brings complacency and contentment. Like playing, like, you know what I mean? It actually doesn't make you. In general, Packer fans are comfortable. I love you guys, but you are comfortable with the fact that you've had magnificent quarterback play for the last 30 years. Literally 30 years.
Yeah. Yep.
So that alone is like, you guys, we will say when you struggle, that creates like a friction, and then there's growth. Like I don't know how much Packer fans have had to grow because they haven't had to suffer. And what I mean by that, it's funny. It's like it's the weird. I'm coming from a weird place, but like they're comfortable with the fact that literally any team in the league would die to have what Aaron Rodgers brings to the table, even in his worst. Like, what are you talking about? So to say that you guys literally been playing, what top 2 for MVP race up until like maybe this week. So what are we saying here? And it's like, I think that's clickbait. I think that's the nature of like people in general. But I also, I do believe that it doesn't bring, when you're too familiar with and too comfortable, you get like, there's no growth, and there's no way to like even see that. You just automatically are like, it's not that. And it's like, whoa. How much have you experienced this that now you're taking it for granted? Like, what are we talking about here?
Aaron Nagler would call that entitled town. I think that's his little motto.
Yeah. And I think that's cool. It's like, whoa, we are. And I get it. We're entitled I was entitled. I played him. Yes, absolutely. There's a standard that we have, and then the standards that we've experienced.
Yes.
So you could say like, like for instance, and look at the Giants.
Yep.
How many years did Peyton play?
For the Giants? Oh, you mean not Eli?
I mean, sorry, Eli. Yeah.
How many? I mean, he played for what was it? Drafted into
like 15, something like that.
Yeah, about 15 years, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. That's a long time.
Yes.
And to, for the most part, be playing at a significantly high level.
Yeah.
And now they're seriously struggling. It's like, oh my goodness. So it's like, wow. Remember the good old days. You know, the Packers have no idea what that looks like.
Yeah.
No idea.
We had like what, 2 losing seasons? You know, it's like 3, I think, since Aaron Rodgers has become the starter. Because I think it was his first season, and then I think it was like, you know, one where he got hurt, and then like in the Vikings game. And
and I remember even Aaron's first season in 08 when we were losing games at the end of the game. So it was like, oh man, like we're you know what I mean? So we knew. So it wasn't like we're a bunch of bums. It was like, yo, we just can't fit, you know, just different. And even the fans' expectation was like, oh, we're close. So it was like they've never experienced so now to see them complain, I'm like, oh God, guys. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. No, I so here it's so funny that you say that, and we were talking about this because like when I started doing this podcast in 2015, like I came in and like again, like that's at like the height of we just went to the NFC Championship game against the Seahawks. Like, you know, like we're competitive every single year, and people are complaining that we're losing in the divisional round. Every now and then it'd be the wild card where other teams would kill for that. And I would come in, like I will say, in the past 5 years, 6 years, like as a fan, I got it. Like I understood why like Lions fans would look at us and be like, I hate you. Because like they're like, listen,
what we're complaining about
is what like I'm just like, oh God.
This is the silver spoon complaint. Absolutely.
The championship route. And the Lions are like, a what? Like I couldn't even get there. Like, what is that? So like, you know, and you have teams that like don't have winning seasons for years. And like I feel like that definitely like helped me, you know, interviewing all of these fans. And I was like, oh crap, like we got it good. Like we have it like
very good. Really it's how good. Man, it's almost like how dare you and I get it. It is. That's why I like what Aaron said in Entitled Town, because it is like wow, you have no idea. And yes, and I get it. It's not to say it's not legitimate in the sense that hey, because the expectation is rings, the expectation is Super Bowl. So like, hey, we're not getting it done in the manner that we want to. But seriously, to say, hey, this is why we drafted Jordan. What are you?
Oh my God. I didn't even click it. I'm like, I'm not even.
I didn't even click it either. I remember I saw, especially, you know, what was the comparison versus the week before was the greatest. The fact that he literally said, that he literally says, hey, Aaron Rodgers, MVP caliber.
And then
it's almost like
it's comical.
Yeah, like he woke up from a coma and was like, oh, what? That's why we draft. Like literally, was he channeling that from somebody else? Like he was a conduit from somebody, because that didn't come from him.
Yeah, I think just like the overreactions that I witnessed on the internet, and like it was one of those things that, you know, we had the NFC Championship game. That was bad. And we had a long time without football. Then we went and had an undefeated start to the season. And I was like, okay, I forgot how bad the reaction was for like the hottest of seconds, how bad the overreactions are though, like when we lose a football game. And like people are like, oh, you know, this person needs to go. And this, I can't, the amount of people who were calling for Jordan Love to like come in. And I was like,
really?
What? Ryan, I swear, you go back and watch that live chat. And it wasn't like a, you know, let's make sure that Aaron doesn't get hurt kind of thing. Like, because that's a different story, right? Like,
So that's different. Like the game's over. Like,
it was like, no, put Jordan Love in. Like, we want to see, like, and I was like, are you insane? Like, no, like, no. And like, it just, it boggles my mind that I feel like as a fan, like, it's just so not fun if you're like going into every game thinking the worst. And when the worst happens, you're like, I told you so.
I told you so. Maybe that's the fanatical aspect.
I think that's what it is.
Maybe that's the fanatical aspect.
Like, it's just like, oh no.
It definitely doesn't make sense.
Packers suck. Packers week after week, and they keep on winning. And you're like, oh, one of these days I'm gonna hit it. Like in which, and then you're just like, Nostradamus, right here, baby. Like we got it. It's just I was right, you were wrong kind of mindset, which is inferior.
Everybody's looking for confirmation bias in the in their own respect. So
that's a deeper conversation that goes way beyond football. But
exactly,
around ourselves in our echo chambers. Oh my God. Yeah, no, you're right. So heading on and switching gears a little bit to the Texans game. This is one of those they had a shootout with the Titans, and that was a really, really good game. And if I think with the Texans, they do have the firepower to make it incredibly high scoring. Their defense does not scare me as much. Obviously, they have guys like J.J. Watt and stuff, but their defense doesn't.
Yeah, I'm still not really concerned about.
I think it's the offense is more of like, okay, if our defense can get pressure on Watson and contain him, we should be okay. But I'm also not looking past this game because the Texans went toe to toe with the Titans, who have proven they're undefeated. They're still a very good football team.
Yeah, and they no, they're not. Are they undefeated or they won loss?
Yeah, no, because they
had a bye week too. They had a bye week too. They played
because of COVID.
Yeah. So I think they finished that game out. And this is
Derrick Henry, baby.
Derrick's the man. He's sweet, bro. The king of the long run. I think that this could potentially end up a serious fight because it could be a shootout.
Yep.
So because of that, it's like, okay, that offense has got to be firing on all cylinders. And I think they are basically the product we put out on that field defensively last week. The Texans are licking their chops right now and saying, "Oh, all right, we can do some things." And yes, they have the firepower. I think they're going to sling it. They're going to try and they're going to do some play act. I expect them to try to do a lot of getting outside the pocket with.
Yep.
I think they know they're going to try and get some pressure on Deshaun, so I think they're going to try and get him out the pocket, get some people moving around, misdirections. And I'd be surprised if they don't try to make it a shootout because they feel like they can get so many points. So with that being said, the Packers offense needs to figure out a way to, number one, stay on the field, because when a team can become a shootout, you got to keep your body on the field. So drives have to be a little longer. You know what I mean? Like a little more steady drives. Keep Deshaun off. Yeah, keep him off the field. Because he's just a big play guy. Like the thing about Deshaun, he's just a big, he's just one of those guys like, playmaker. And when a guy makes play, it's like big plays. So keep him off the field, man, as much as possible. Keep that ball, move the chains. And everybody on offense needs to be firing and ready to go, man. So we'll see.
And I look at the Texans and I
expect the Packers to win, of course.
Of course, obviously. Of course. Like the Texans are a team that they have nothing to lose, right? Like head coach has been fired. The expectations for them are low. They're already forecasting of not going to the playoffs. And I feel like it looks like you have a bunch of really good competitors on that team. They're like, listen, let's go balls to the wall. Cause why not? At this point, why not?
And listen, at the end of the day, before the season started, let's not act like they weren't up there as people saying, keep an eye on them. Sure. Like the Houstons were south. So the fact that they haven't performed earlier in the season, and yes, the coach situation with their coach, I think that was long time coming, but
overdue.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't, with everything going on with that, I still don't look at them as be like, oh, they're not. Nah, they're a team that they haven't been able to finish games. They haven't been able to close games, but they got they have a phenomenal amount of good players. They have a really great group of guys out there that can play football at a really high level. And if you don't think that they can beat you, you're bugging, because it's impressive what Tennessee did to finish that game. I thought the game was over. Yeah. I definitely thought Houston was going to win that game. So, and so I don't think that, I think actually that plays more into Houston's as a, you know what I mean? Sure. That actually, them losing that game helps them more going into Green Bay in the way that they lost than Green Bay looking at that and being like, oh, there's still another loss for them. No, it's they lost that game, but fought and should have won that game. And it's like, oh, damn. So
it goes back to the Giants Packers in 2011, baby. That's what we're talking about. Some losses, obviously it's not a W in the win column, but you're able to hang in there with the Titans, who are being considered one of the best teams right now. And you're able to hold on to them. And like you said, you look at how the Packers lost. Yeah, they'll be looking to take advantage of that. I don't think there's going to be a necessary lack of confidence going.
No, absolutely not. No, I think if anything, they're going to have more confidence.
Do you think that the Packers, I kind of want to get to that real quick. Do you think after a loss like this, and obviously as a former player, like, is there like that kind of like creeping doubt now that you're just like, like that didn't go like really well. So like your first time you step on the field, you're like, okay, like you're obviously there, you're professional, repetition, you know what you're supposed to do. But is there like kind of that little bit where it's like, okay, yeah, okay, no, we're fine.
Yeah, I don't think it's not doubt. If there is, then there's a level of the false confidence.
Yes.
Than what when we talked about, because what we've done, they're pros, and like I said, they got a bunch of maybe some of the younger guys, maybe.
Yeah.
But overall, how many bodies of work has Aaron and that line and those guys and Bakhtari and even Jamal Williams, like Devontae, how many hours have they put in? How many times have they gone to work together and rep together? And so no, I don't think that I think they'll be able really easily to evaluate what they did wrong, and and work on that. It's not like we don't know what's going on. Like no, there's it's not by any means we don't have any answers. Like, no, we don't have it. No.
Yeah.
Trust me, on that plane, there were conversations about what didn't work and like what we didn't do right, what we didn't do correct, what we weren't efficient in, and stuff like that. So no, I don't see it like that at all. Those are bigger issues. And yes, guess what? If it would have been the weeks prior, things that we saw glaring issues like, then you say like, okay, well, that's been a problem that we won despite of, but we've always had this issue. We don't have an answer for this issue. No, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Like, so no, I don't see it as being like there'll be any issue with confidence or anything like that moving forward. No. Everybody will be dialed in.
And like, I'm looking at this too, is like, we're not even halfway through the season yet. Like, there is time to grow. I will say, like, I legit have concerns about the run defense. That has, if there's any issue that is kind of carried over from week to week, it has been that. But I'm hoping that there's time to fix it, whether that is actually going out and grabbing someone real quick, or whether that is, just kind of better scheming personnel, what have you. I don't know. But I think at the end of the day, the problems with the 2020 Green Bay Packers, I think, are far fewer than what they're doing right. And I think that's illustrated by the body of work that they put on the field thus far.
Yes, that's a great overall explanation of it. Yes, I think the run defense is one of those things that we haven't been totally burned by it yet. And when I mean burned, yes, even I guess last week would be the first like, where it showed, but you're seeing aspects of consistencies where there's like little holes. If I'm scouting them and I'm saying, okay, you can poke holes at this, and this is a deficiency of what we would say, on an opposing team, hey, we can make some money here.
Yeah.
I mean, we can live in this space and we can make some money here and then build off of that. So I don't know, because maybe to try to do some more things in regards to maybe some different stunts. I don't really know exactly. I don't know. But what I do know is that I guarantee Matt is going to be, Coastal Florida will definitely be looking at, okay, how can we do some things? He's going to be telling Mike's going
to feel his hot breath like on the back of his neck.
Yeah, no, really. And you should, and to be honest with you, should. Like, that's not, it's like, hey man, you got to, you got to perform better. It is what it is. Like, nobody's looking at that performance and being like, well, no, like, get out of here. Everybody has to perform better. And you got to perform better. And we've said a couple weeks, like, all right, we're winning games and we're doing like this. Overall, the body is great, but we got to do a little more things. And of course, in losses, things become a little bit more glaring and in your face. So this is part of the job, man.
Like you said, going in on Monday's a lot easier with a win under your belt. That's all it is. All those like issues, you're like, it's fine because we won.
Guess what? A lot of guys, I promise you, today's the day off. There's a lot more guys in those offices right now.
Oh yeah. I want to end it off with one thing that's not Packers related. Mike McCarthy, Dallas Cowboys. Last night.
I didn't watch it at all. No idea.
You didn't miss anything. They lost 38-10 as well. they got beat up. Dalton didn't play well. Zeke fumbled twice. The defense actually shut out.
Zeke fumbled twice.
Well,
yeah, they're gonna lose if Zeke. Plain and simple. If Zeke doesn't perform, they're gonna lose.
And the problem is I don't know if you're able to see this. Apparently, players are starting to talk to the media, in which it was supposed to be like kept under wraps, but they're coming out and saying that the coaching staff is not prepared and they don't know what they're doing. Players are saying that, yes. So it's kind of like twofold. One, I'm like, oh, like that means it's bad. Like that means like that means that there's like,
so it means that there's some there's some internal shit going on. Sorry, excuse my language, but there's definitely some internal stuff going on.
It's a PG-13 show.
There you go. Yeah.
So like my question to you is, in terms like obviously as a player, where is, I guess, like the line with the media in terms of if something's not going well internally within the organization? Like, is there a point where you literally are just like, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to this media person, which it's going to get out and it's not going to, like, how does that help the team in any way, shape, or form? Or
it doesn't. I don't think it helps the team at all.
Yeah. I'm curious
in the
motivation.
same breath, I understand, quote unquote, I can be compassionate and empathize with why it happens. Okay. Because there's some other major issues going on from it, because every team talks about internal trust.
Sure.
And hey, man, we keep things in-house. If there's an issue, you handle. So if you already had that as a foundation, which I'm positive that's what the foundation that was built, that means that there are some supremely frustrated, confused individuals who don't trust, are not buying into the process anymore that Mike is building down there. So that's a major issue, because then you start to implode. You know what I mean? And it's like, everything starts to crumble down. But I'm gonna keep it real. I think it has to do with some other stuff, maybe all the way top.
It's just like, just looking up a little bit. Like, you're just like, hey, listen, my ceiling is leaking. It's
the ceiling has always been heavy-handed. I think they use the phrase Jerry's World in regards to everything.
I don't think that's just the stadium. No, I think
so. I don't know, but though when those type of things happen, those examples, those little expressions, when things quote unquote leak like that, and I'm not, they're all, I'm guessing they're of truth. I'm not saying they're not, but they're just signs of bigger issues, foundational issues.
Yeah. I think I think you also need to keep it within the context. There was a lot of expectations. I thought the Cowboys were going to do really, really well.
Listen, this is clearly we only know about the Packers.
Yeah, obviously.
I am not a Swami. I'm by no means Swami for the Cowboys. I know about the Packers.
That's what we got.
Because the moment you leave the Packers organization, I know nothing.
It's like what
clearly.
But because like you look at it, and I think it's important context as well. They've had a ton of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. They don't have Dak Prescott anymore. Like, I think it's now like within reason. They're still in first place, like within their division.
That is, the fact that this week coming, no matter if all four teams win, which they can't because they're all playing each other, that no one's still gonna have a winning. That's crazy. I feel bad, but hey, it's interesting. And this is where we'll see how this goes come playoff time. I'm all bit like, listen, I remember one of the years there was a team that was like 7-9 that went to the playoffs. And I remember being like, yo, that's whack. Like, no, if you have a losing record, I don't care if you win your division, you should not be able to go to the playoffs. Plain and simple. No.
I want to just make sure something clear. 8-7-1 is fine because it's a winning record. So 2013 Packers, they earned it. So there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people have said that too, because I feel like it has been, I think if you're talking maybe the Panthers, like a few years back, they won the South and I think they had a losing record.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's from the East that they usually don't have a great record and they're able to sneak into the playoffs. And I mean, like, I get that you look at a team who could be like 10-6, they don't get in.
They don't get in because they're fighting in a division that's the real deal. Like, the NFC West and all, like, they get after it. They play ball, and it always comes down to the last 2 weeks of the season. Always. And you got these teams that are like week 10, they're like, hey, you know what? It's like,
yeah. Only got 3 wins and it's week 12, but you know what? It's fine.
Yeah, like there's still getting an opportunity. There's 4 games left in the season. They're like, hey, we could end with we end with a 7 spot. We might be able to get out of here. Like I'm not in favor of that. It is.
And again, like too, you have a 7th seed too, but we'll see. We got plenty of season to continue. Right. But Mr. Ryan Grant, it's a pleasure as always here. Please tell the people where they can find you.
Ryan Grant 25 on Twitter. Ryan.Grant on Instagram all day. And I just want to end on a more calmer note, just because the theme of this is back to the mellow with the green and yellow. Was that it? That was it, right? Mellow with the green and yellow.
Yes, mellow with the green and yellow. Thank you.
And the sentiments of this episode were just getting back to the roots and foundations of who we are, Packer family. And let's not for any moment believe that we are better than, even though we are better than the rest of the.
We are better than everyone else.
That we are not, that we are bigger than, and we cannot take a loss. We know how to handle a loss. So, you know what? And I will say this: handle the loss, Packer fans, respectively. Handle the loss like a champion.
Ooh.
That this is important, really. This is important to be able to handle the loss, fans, because trust the players will. So fans, handle this loss. Cheeseheads, handle the loss like the champions that we know you are. Because guess what? If you can handle the loss, you damn sure can handle when things are going great, because we're going to have a lot more wins. So take this loss. Do what you need to do. Do what you need to do as a fan. Look at what you didn't do. Do your part.
Apologize to Golden Tate.
Yeah, see, like my man did. See, my man Tom did. Do what you need to do. Get back on track and be ready to go.
Listen, there's only one Super Bowl champion that never had any losses in their season. So we're in good company. We're in good company.
That is correct.
Every Super Bowl champion has lost, except that the Dolphins at one time. But
yeah, except
we don't talk about them though. We don't talk about them. They played less games. It was fine. Folks, I'm on Tom Grossi. You can find me at Tom Grossi Comedy everywhere. Go find me somewhere. That's fine. Whatever. But thank you all so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Ryan Grant. And as always,
go
back, go.